Surf's up, guys. It's Mauisnake. I'm here with a demo review. We haven't done these for a while, but they're always nice to do. I'm doing one with m0NESY right now, and this is obviously what this channel was more or less built on. And so I really wanted to just kind of get back into this because it's going to help me update my game knowledge. It is something that you guys have always liked when I've watched these kinds of things. And so right now I'm pulling up m0NESY's 1.91 rating against FaZe Clan. This is the highest rating he had in an MVP performance at the Blast Fall Finals. And so I wanted to go over what it is that he did on some of these rounds. In total, he got 5 opening kills on this. And he is going to kick it off with this pistol here, just jiggling off of the catwalk. And I mean, if you guys have been on my channel for a long time, you know that this is really what I was doing for the majority of the time, and somehow gets the timing on ROPS there. That was pretty interesting. Stays around for another, kind of plays the timing, waits a bit, hesitates, is able to find another on Rain.
Are you bored? Then how about you have some fun in Skin Club battles? Compete with other players in epic battles. It's all or nothing. Also, since Skin Club is provably fair, you can always check every single battle you play to make sure that you were not cheated. But if it gets too much time for other people to join, then you can always play against bots. They're always here for you. So have fun, compete with others, and get your jackpot on Skin Club.
And yeah, instantly rotates on in. The smoke is down for the cross, and so he is giving up a free 1v1, even kind of a 2v1 to the tees here, but overall, I think he's pretty confident with it. This is the very first game of the entire event, and he obviously goes on to win the MVP at this entire tournament over, kind of over ZywOo. Like, if you really want to go down to it, in terms of rating, ZywOo was second place, or he was actually number 1, and overall, good spray right there. Just peeks out wide. I don't even think he was really supported by anything, necessarily. But when you have an A1S and you think the opponents are on ecos, it's not really the worst thing to just play the fact that you have the better gun. Play the advantage. So, m0NESY, like I said, he only gets 5 opening kills. Technically, Mauibs actually gets a little bit more, but m0NESY, in this round, working with Mauibs to try to take that long control, secure Mauibs' position early on, and then he'll rotate back over towards Cat along with Nico. You can see that m0NESY and Nico will be working to re-clear this. And overall, just G2, this is just great macro understanding. You already fought for long early on. You're probably going to push back FaZe, or if FaZe want to clear long, they're probably going to flash. And actually, what's interesting is that Mauibs, despite the fact that he was secured towards long, comes back with m0NESY and Nico. So he's actually going to support their play to retake the space. Because again, like, it's just so off meta to just walk out long A. And so more or less throughout this entire time, we'll see m0NESY's POV, but Mauibs is right next to him. And at this point, they've spotted some players out. m0NESY's just taking more and more duels and just hunts down Brokey as well. Yeah, I mean, he's got, what, 8 kills in the first 3 rounds, so he's already off to an incredible start. Finally picks up the op, and just peeks down mid. Nothing really crazy. Once again, he probably figures that Brokey, at best, or maybe even Kerrigan, is going to be using a scout in this round. Breaks the smoke for himself, just trying to make sure that he keeps some pressure on the space. And FaZe, they throw a pretty good smoke for mid. It's not... There's a couple different smokes that I've been seeing top teams throw. There are the ones that land kind of in the doorway. There's somehow an Xbox smoke for them this time around. And then sometimes people throw it actually on top of the door. And I've noticed that the one on top of the door is by far the least consistent. Like, you need basically a perfect pixel walk, I think it is, to make that one work. And yeah, m0NESY just being diligent about his rotation, knowing that it's very possible that somebody could be flanking them or could have just been waiting in the smoke. It's, again, it's an eco round for FaZe, and so they're definitely going to be up to some antics. And yeah, m0NESY setting up for the flash, jump throw, forward jump throw with that flash. That's going to help support Nico to get in there. And I think if Frozen had any other gun, that could have been a really strong flank, but just such a quick turnaround, quick shot, so accurate. And I mean, I picked this demo for a reason. Like, he's going to hit a lot of shots in this one, even though actually in the grand finals he did very well. But the thing that's great about m0NESY is he's not flawless. Like, he doesn't hit every single shot. He's very fast. He looks for a lot of opportunities because he knows he's so fast, but he creates a lot of opportunities too. And that's kind of one of the best things about him, that of all oppers in the space right now, I think m0NESY, ZywOo are probably near the best of just creating the most opportunities for themselves round to round. And yeah, early pick mid, not going to find anything for himself. And already you can see that the money is super hurt by that one. So he's on the scout. Once again, goes for the same peak, using the move speed of the scout to just strafe across over and over and over again, not just going for a flat out peek. Feel like it's probably just not, it's not in your best interest to go for a flat out peek with the scout towards middle if you're just going to be trying to take the duel versus an op. The chance that you hit the headshot and line it up. I mean, these are the best snipers in the world, and they even know that. I don't think they're delusional about the fact that if Brokey's holding with an op, he's probably going to hit a body shot faster than m0NESY is going to hit a scout headshot. So that trade's really not worth it. Running across, using the move speed to your advantage is definitely... It's a way to kind of even the playing field with the scout. Gives a nade up over to Malbs. Smoke, actually. And yeah, just kind of jiggling from plat. Again, using the move speed of the scout. Never just standing still. He's not sure if anybody got into pit. So he's just going to make sure that, you know, keeps on jiggling this out. Cross smoke is there. Definitely knows that there is some long presence. G2 haven't really rotated yet, but yeah, at top tier level CS, you just never really know for sure. There's no op on m0NESY this time. In general, though, by the way, just my thoughts on G2 lately, because they just won a tournament. I was very critical of Snacks and Taz for a while, and sometimes I think, like, the podcast, the hot take point made persona and the stream persona obfuscates with what I'm actually thinking and how I actually feel. I feel like Snake and Banter is where I actually come up with the most reasonable takes. It's almost like this. The way you should judge my work, guys, because I bait a lot of people on Twitter, okay? I have a lot of fun on that website. So I do want to say that what I say on desks is entertainment. It's a little bit of shock, but it is what I think. It is what I think. I'm not just flapping my gums up there. Even if it's a hot take or anything like that, I'm usually coming very prepared every single desk segment with research that backs up everything I say. As with Snake and Banter, hot take point made can be a little bit more inflammatory and incendiary. And Twitter is just, I would just say this, guys. If you don't know by now, if you're like, wow, Mau, you really changed because of like whatever, it's like, I just use Twitter for fun, okay? I really do. m0NESY's playing Game Helper in this round, doesn't have an op. You can see that he's very ready to help out Malbs. If he had an op, he probably would be just playing closer to plat, maybe even be peeking down cat at some point by now. But instead, with the rifle setup, they are switched to a 3B setup between Hunter, Nico, and Snacks. And at this point, it's kind of like, can m0NESY and Malbs hold this back or get some kills to buy time for a rotation? If m0NESY just went 0 for 1 right there, I'm pretty confident that G2 would have just called this round off entirely. They have no kit, as far as I can tell. I don't think the UI shows that. Or I think the UI does show that, I mean, but it doesn't show it right now. And yeah, they'll still be going for this one. Good flash, good scaling. You can see Malbs is kind of on entry duty. And m0NESY, even in a gunfight versus Frozen, his rifle is super clean. And what's hilarious about this is that Brokey's actually trying to throw the op away. You can see that the op just sailed up over the wall right there. I think he actually... Where did it go? Did he actually get over? He actually threw it over. So, job done, Brokey. I also think people might be wondering about, like, the top 3 conversation, and I have other videos that are going to be coming for that one. I need to really think about it, okay? Between m0NESY, Donkin, and ZywOo, I have a couple different ways that I'm looking at this, but yeah, once again, when m0NESY's playing the rifle, it does seem like he just kind of plays this sort of game helper position. If people don't really know what that means, that's just talking about this area in general, because in CS 1.6 right here, there was an advertisement across this wall, which used to just read Game Helper. I forgot what the service even was. It might have been coaching or something like that. I don't even know. But yeah, it was just a big graphic on the side. And I'm kind of glad we don't have an in-game advertisement. That was always a little weird. Okay. So jumps up. 3v3, and with the AK, I feel like you're more emboldened to make that kind of play. That was a kind of a I'm feeling myself sort of peak, combined with the I have an AK, and I know there's long pressure, so maybe I can get a free 1v1 here, but instead there's 2 people. So, Dualies for m0NESY. I notice he's been buying these a lot. Again, just kind of playing in that sort of game helper area. Not the best spot for dualies. Yeah, he spots Rain out, and I'm just... Yeah, I guess they're just going to send it, and this is just absurd. Like, it's absurd that he does that much damage with them so that mobs can clean up. And I also will say, like, that might look a little ridiculous to some people. Like, dude, he's pushing with dualies and a USP. Against the top teams in the world, you need to just create your own opportunities. And I feel like so frequently in pugs, people are just going to crouch and hide and hope to be overlooked. But it's like, these are the best players. They're not, generally speaking, going to just overlook a position entirely, unless their name is Complexity. That is a random dig, but anybody that watches Complexity games knows they just don't clear their corners, unfortunately. And, yeah, m0NESY going back to the cat play here. Just trying to look for something. Unsure if anybody strafed out there to the top of right side mid. It's a very confident hold, despite the fact that I don't think he knows for sure if anybody got to the right side. And this is a play that was supported by the fact that Hunter was in lower too. Obviously, Hunter didn't get insta-killed, and I think he might not have even been holding an angle, a dominant angle there. So... moves back towards his favorite spot, and this is what you're going to see from a lot of oppers. Just honestly, it might look a little repetitive, but very frequently you're going to just find that the opper in a late round situation is either going to be here, game helper, or they're going to be in B. Like it's kind of like an off. It's just if you want to mix things up, it's just a mix up. Sometimes I'd say like you don't really get primary oppers holding B very often. It's more like once a team decides to bring out a secondary, which has actually been Snacks, which is kind of funny. That's when you'll usually see somebody pick it up. You know, there's been a lot of kind of famous secondaries over the years. Donk is actually doing it right now for Spirit, which is funny when they play Dust 2. When Big was the best team on Dust 2 in the world, it was Keto actually was the mid to B player. Very frequently, I think NAF has picked it up actually as well. But okay, this round holding towards middle, looking for a fight early on. He's gonna hear a pin pull, and FaZe are going with the left-right smokes. They're smoking spawn, and that was a very risky play. And you don't have very many windows of opportunity if you're a top-tier player to find something like that, but there's Snacks going from 100 to 0. And so m0NESY is trying to create something, you know? That's why a lot of us rate m0NESY incredibly highly. Whether you put him 1, 2, or 3 for the year, I don't think you're wrong about any of those if you have reasoning to back it up. I personally would have him probably at 2 right now, but he might have passed Donk with the MVP performance at this event. Overall, I think what you can say to summarize the CT side is that he's going for 2 real picks. He's going for a mid peak, and he's going for a cat swing. Those were his most frequent peaks early on, and he's sort of supporting the early long take for mobs so that they can get that space there. And then on top of that, he's basically ending game helper every single time. This was his frequent late round position, and then he's sometimes going to help in the mid to B play like he did on that very last round. But more or less, he's either going to opt down here late round or he's going to opt over here late round. And the reason that you're going to do that is that you really want the opt to be kind of in a point of action for the middle of the game or the mid late round for CT defense, because if you're over here, if they decide to swing cat, usually your other rifler will kind of be around here in the underpass area, like this basically CT spawn. Sometimes you'll have a guy that's sort of at ramp. Sometimes he'll even play goose. It kind of frees the rifler to play 1, 2, 3 different positions. And then your other guy, your long A anchor, is going to be over here watching this side for you. And so you don't really need to be the first contact on long very often, but there are ways to just mix it up. You can have the player you can have the rifler at ramp, you can have the rifler at goose, you can have the rifler towards CT, and they can be the first contact on a cat take into a cat exec right here. But overall, usually you just want your op to be holding it. I feel like most of you guys understand why that is. You just want the first point of contact to be the gun that's going to kill somebody in one shot. And on top of that, cat execs are fairly telegraphed nowadays. Usually people are not just swinging. They're usually throwing a lurk smoke right over here. Sometimes they throw a drop smoke, sometimes called the Vanguard smoke. I'm not seeing that a little bit less Nowadays, I think a couple teams do it. Like, James still likes to do it when they play Dust 2, but VP's not really good right now, so should we really be looking at their demos? I'm just kidding. Don't be results-oriented in your thinking. But yeah, in general, you just want to be able to take a couple shots. The main thing is that if you start the round with a shot mid, or you start the round with a shot towards Cat, you get one shot off there, one opportunity for a kill, maybe even two if you go for a repeak. You get sometimes another if you actually are holding Cat for some time. Then you can move over here, and then you get a third shot. And usually, the thing is that the reason you play this is that you can usually fire off multiple shots consecutively once you're starting a game helper. You play top car, you take one shot right here, then you move over here, you get to take another, and as you're falling back, you can kind of choose your adventure. You want your point and click adventure. Do you want to aim high? Do you want to aim low? And then you are going to take a third shot. And at that point, you might have taken 5 shots in the round already that are pretty difficult for a T side to actually get you off of. And so that's really what top tier opping is about, is making sure that you're taking the most efficient route possible, that you could create the most opportunities for yourself in a round. So the reason that I actually rated OC pretty highly is that when he played against top tier opposition in the world early on in his career, he always created a lot of opportunities. But another thing that's obviously very important is hit rate. And that's why people like ZywOo and m0NESY and Shiro are considered the best in the world. Their hit rate is insanely high. I'd love to see what statistics look like for those kinds of numbers, or almost like how many op shots are they taking in a round where they actually see an opponent on their screen. And I feel like the best oppers in the world are always taking the most shots against the best opposition. It's not, and so that's something that, unfortunately, for some of the people that I consider kind of more in my A tier, like if I had a wide S tier, it would probably be a wide one. ZywOo, Brokey, Shiro, m0NESY, something like that. You could even just shrink it to just be m0NESY and ZywOo right now. But I would say that they are taking on average probably 15% more shots per round than, say, somebody like who would be another opper that's like Dexter right now is for Heroic, for example. Like I don't think Dexter is getting off as many shots. Sometimes he'll just take one then die. And that's due to positioning, that's due to just understanding of the meta, that's due to setup even with him and his team. So many reasons for that. But yeah, first round we see here, they lost the pistol. m0NESY died obviously very early. Scaling up at Catwalk. Mobs is the hard entry on these kinds of strategies for G2. m0NESY's second in. And just kind of dancing around the position, hoping that somebody peeks. He's holding the second point of contact here. Even though Mobs was fighting for such a long time, m0NESY definitely just felt like somebody had to swing ramp at some point. And 15 seconds, forced to plant. Actually decides to go for the fight. And double swings with Nico. So able to turn a hectic situation into a moment of teamwork. And that's something that I feel like actually G2 did really well at this event. I feel like in hectic, tight situations, they were able to play off of each other just a little bit better, like a hair better. I'm not going to go overboard and say, like, this is the best teamwork I've seen this whole tournament. That probably still belonged to Na'Vi, even though they lost. But for G2 standards, this was definitely better. Grand Final was not a good look for Na'Vi. I did feel like their teamwork broke apart a lot, but yeah, we see that m0NESY just holding the line. He's kind of got that, he's still got that like opper brain while he's holding for Mobs' entry, because if he were scaling with an op, you'd probably want to hold something similar, hold for a ramp swing, get the one shot, and a lot of trust in his ability to just kind of almost play stationary, play very static, despite the fact that he should be in a point where he's scaling. Like, he's supposed to be kind of running up here, but he just kind of like jiggles in this area back and forth, just from here to here, just making sure that he's not getting shot. And you notice that in CS2, if you haven't picked this up by now, in CS2, you're just trying to stay mobile a lot more in this game. Like in CSGO, you can kind of stand, you could have stand still there, you could have stood still, and you could have just held and hoped that someone would swing into your crosshair. But in this game, you want to make sure that you're always moving, because the models, like, which I've shown in demonstrations of on my stream, they just have this sway, they have this lean that looks very awkward for somebody that is trying to hold the angle against you, or trying to even just hit you as you're moving. So, slow cat control coming out from G2 here. Yeah, scaling up, just trying to make sure that he's making some presence there. making sure that nobody's just gonna like be sitting cheekily in the smoke. And funnily enough, like his team is going actually towards B right now, and maybe a little bit of overheating by going for the next kill, but overall just still creating space, maintaining pressure, making sure the FaZe players aren't insta-rotating. This is just an anti-eco. I'm not really worried too much about this. They use some mollies, smokes. You know, everybody on G2 gets a little bit excited for the ecos, which is why they drop the bomb behind him. And we see that Snacks actually has an MP5. So he's doing it for the culture. Yeah, everybody. I mean, the thing is that, like, is this shameless eco hunting? Yes. Is it bad? Not necessarily, because if you're against a USP, why would you not take a long-range fight against USPs, you know? Like, you should be taking that. You're a pro player. You should think that you're better at aiming than them, unless you're in the bottom 10 percentile of players at that level, mechanically speaking. Go for ecos. Like, it's not a bad thing. People treat ecos like a dirty word, like those kills don't count. Someone has to get them, okay? So, you know, everybody wants them, but how many times do you see even at pro games, you probably see once per series, maybe once per 1.5 series, I'll say. You'll see it like once every, like once a day if you watch 2 series of CS, a full eco win, you know? It happens. So you want people that are actually good at killing them. You want people that are confident taking the fights, playing to win those anti-ecos as opposed to playing not to lose and playing too defensively. But supporting flashes early on for m0NESY, throws one over right here, lands pretty high. Second one is a good scaling flash if you're unaware of that one. That one's high to the left, so that the first one, they have to basically round the corner as it's popping. And then the second one is a high left flash, so that when they're already moving up, because the first flash should have pushed some of the people off of that initial angle, then they are actually going to, I think we can zoom back, actually. Let's go see how he got this kill. Okay. Well, that was pretty cool. And this should be a secure round, but you can see that m0NESY needs to focus on Cat. If he loses this position, it's basically round over. And even though there was a tap on the bomb, he doesn't get too excited. Still knows that for Kerrigan to just stick in that situation in a 2v1 is just insane. Like, it's legitimately just crazy. And so, not getting too panicked despite the fact that he heard the tap. And, yeah, nice multi-frag for him overall. Another timeout. Goes for a pick towards B tunnels. Seen a couple different peeks from him early on now with the op. He's been fighting mid. He fought long a while ago, a couple rounds ago. Now he's fighting tunnels. These are, practically speaking, the only ones you can really go for. You can kind of just use it as a rifle and go anywhere, but this one is just so clean because if you're good, if you're m0NESY, you should be able to hit the vertical flick here pretty well. And sometimes you'll even just get the wall bang, but still incredibly valuable to know a B defender is on half HP. Just makes the entry so much cleaner. And yeah, he wants to sell the fake, throws a lurk smoke right here. Just gonna deny the information. Actually kind of messed it up. So this is pretty easy to peek around, actually. I'm pretty sure Rops could go for it, but you can still see the hesitation that Rops has here. Like, he's not really sure if he wants to go for that peek, because if you just peek into this, it might kind of just be on the edge. So it's really not even that strong for him. And that really joins up the 2B defenders. You can see how close they had to play that whole time. That's also because of the weapons that they have, but yeah. Okay, wants to give the bomb up. Molly towards lower. Cut off any sort of rotation if anybody wants to move up from CT spawn. He still has a teammate in Snacks holding the flank. And now m0NESY just goes for these fights. They know that this is a pretty haphazard buy for FaZe. So yeah, no real reason not to do stuff like this. You're probably going to want to save long A anyways, so knowing that allows you to progress, take the long range fight that you're looking for with an AWP. I think he did the little decoy trick right there to make it seem like he might be picking mid, which might scare some of the FaZe players for a split second, might slow a rotation. CT mollies are thankfully horrible, so G2 is able to just run right through that. Flashes for the Hunter peak. Yeah, going for a little bit of spam. I'm not sure what kind of read he has to think that somebody would be on the right side right there, but either way, it looks like they're going to do a late long clear, and kind of fortunately, there's nobody here, and I said earlier that very off meta to just kind of walk out long here, but when you're in a 3 versus 4, you do need some kind of edge, and so you're going to take some risks like that. If you're in a 5v4, no reason to just walk out dry. Just absolutely pointless. Like, you just use the utility you have, take the space more cleanly. Even if they know where you're going, you have the numbers advantage still, plus you're playing with a lead at that point, so the CTs might just make a bad push because they think that's happening, but when you're down, you want to get the element of surprise. Flash, molly, only when you really need to do it, and m0NESY now smokes down, but he can see above it. Really good angle, kind of the most comfortable angle for him, given that he's playing there all of CT side. And yeah, he's trying to stay really clustered here. He's staying at car. If anybody peeks long, he wasn't super vulnerable while he was tucked deep, but now I think they have intel of where everybody is. They definitely know where Rops is. I don't think at this point they know where Brokey is necessarily, but I guess they just figure it's a little bit less likely he's going to go long. And this is kind of Nico just carving him up. And yeah, m0NESY, interestingly enough, the only way to really lose this round is by dying and for Brokey to just run on the bomb. And he actually still goes for the fight regardless of that. Like, if Brokey perfectly peeks him, he's going to die, and then he's just going to the bomb's going to get defused. But, like, that's why m0NESY is also great. Some oppers that maybe have a little bit more of a sense of, oh, what's the best macro play? What's the best play by the percentages? But m0NESY just thinks that he's going to hit that shot 100 out of 100 times. He missed it there when Brokey swung out on Cat, but he is so confident in that he's kind of making what can kind of be determined as a bad play. You're an opper. You know where the guy's going to peek you from. He also has an op. If that guy just flat out dry peeks you with an op, you're just going to react faster. Again, it's kind of one of those elements of m0NESY that make him just that like extra 10% flashier than some other oppers. Things I would have probably gone for that too. I think Brokey would have definitely gone for that too. Would Shiro have? Maybe not, you know? Like, Shiro might have tucked in long a little bit deeper, for example. Boosted to see if anybody's going lower. Provides his team a ton of intel. And this is when he definitely just feels very confident about the fights. Just going for those peaks right there. Double flash. Hopefully it's going to make somebody turn. Then they'll turn back into the second flash that he throws. Nico clearing close. And yeah, m0NESY supporting. Sure, you can say support opping isn't a thing, but at the same time, generally speaking, most oppers have the most flash assists and opponents flash per round of all players on all top teams. So you just want the riflers to clear first. That's basically the main aspect of this. And it actually, yeah, okay, so molly deep, flash down. Actually messed that flash up. Was not supposed to bounce off of this little texture right here. One of the greatest parts about CS2 is that your nade can get caught on absolutely everything. But I'm pretty sure the flash was supposed to land right around here. So I can just show you guys what happened for this exec though. But yeah, so they threw the Vanguard smoke. They actually threw the drop smoke here, which generally allows a CT or a T to jump down here and scale to clear the ramp from both sides. But yeah, everybody on G2 at this point is just fighting. And they know that they won. Like, Mobs is even jumping up, giving up a free 1v1. And then he just takes another fight as well. They just feel like they're so confident in that position. And yeah, that's it. m0NESY, 25 and 11. 5 opening kills. Some of them were on pistol. I think one of them might have been an M4. I think it was first round, second round. And then he had a couple op kills as well. So, good supporting, good positioning. That's going to show you some of the just strong play from m0NESY in terms of what he does in terms of his movements. And I don't think we saw anything too groundbreaking here. I don't want to lie. I don't want to gaslight you guys, but this is sort of what you expect from an opper on Dust 2. But you could kind of see how he wants to end rounds in comfort positions that allow him chances to multi-frag. Even though we didn't really get that highlight round from the game helper position, he still had multi-frags because of the opportunities he created for himself in the rounds, especially in post plants. So, thanks guys. And yeah, I'm going to probably come out with maybe 1 or 2 of these every single month. I feel like it's a great way to kind of get back into the flow of just watching demos. I'll try to pick better and better ones overall. But either way, guys, thanks so much. And as always, being toxic is a choice.